Hello, my name is Natalie Jones, and I'm going to be interviewing my parents over Hurricane Rita for my oral history project. Okay. So talk about your experiences growing up in the Gulf or near the Gulf of Mexico.
Well, for me, I know for Brad, we grew up preparing for hurricanes. We had the hurricane tracking chart that was available at the grocery store. They always told you what to buy. And as soon as August would come around, they would say, oh, the water's warm. It's the optimal time for hurricanes to start forming. I remember my mother always had a hurricane kit with candles and ropes to hang out clothing with clothespins and extra dog food for the dogs. I do the same thing still, but now we are more informed, I think, than we were when we were little, huh?
Yes, we're a lot more informed. When we were much younger, it was always a gamble on where the hurricane was going to land.
Exactly, yeah.
And
now we can pinpoint it with the radar.
Yeah. All right. What did your parents do during your formative years?
My mom was a school teacher, and my dad was an engineer for Texaco. So.
And my father worked for Texas Eastern. He was a mechanic, and of course we spent all our years on the Gulf Coast, in Houma, Louisiana, Mississippi, coast in Texas. My mother was a home mom.
Yeah.
And
Did they ever take any precautions to prepare for the hurricane?
well,
We had boards that were pre-measured and cut out to cover the windows. I remember that.
Oh yeah, I remember for about a hurricane that came through Houma. I think it was in 1973 maybe, or latter part of 72. We had to put boards up on the windows. We had a pet German Shepherd. We had to let him inside, or her inside. But for hurricane preparation, we always had candles, just a whole bunch of candles, flashlights. Of course, radios were more popular back then, I think. We had AM weather radio where we could listen to the events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So talk about Louisiana culture and how it differs from other southern states.
Well, the culture or the land Okay, the culture in Louisiana was very interesting for me growing up as a youngster, because I loved all the different languages you would hear. In particular, we would call them the Cajun French, or they were Creole French. I just loved hearing them talk. And the food, which is so wonderful, etouffee, crawfish all the time, boiled shrimp, fish, just all the time. And the Zydeco music, I loved that growing up.
I think he appreciated the food. he appreciated the culture, but especially the food. He liked to hear them talk, but for me, when I hear them talk, it makes me feel at home because I'm around those people so much. But I remember him telling me a story that when he would wait on the bus when when you were in elementary school and there would be somebody there selling fresh cracklings,
mm-hmm.
and they smelled so good that he would end up buying fresh cracklings. He said, oh, and you knew they were good because you'd get on the bus and you'd have your paper sack and the grease would just absorb through the paper sack and you knew you had something good. He said, but you don't see that here. So the food is pretty amazing. The spices, the the fresh seafood and the things that they can do with all that spice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's not forget beignets, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Because they're really my favorite. Okay.
All right. How was the geography and the geology of that region?
Well, Louisiana's swampy.
Yeah,
And
many swamps in my area.
Yeah.
lots of mosquitoes. It's
Lots
very
of it.
conducive for gator hunting, and which is another great food coming out of Louisiana.
Yeah.
But over here, we're not as swampy.
Mm-mm.
In Texas,
No.
we're not near as swampy, but Texas has been influenced by all the culture in Louisiana for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What is the weather like in the region?
It's very, very humid.
Yeah, it's
Very-
hot,
very
it's
hot and
humid,
muggy.
Muggy, yeah.
lots of mosquitoes, giant bugs everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Even this time of year, in December, late November, you find yourself going outside and still working up a pretty good sweat,
Yeah.
even though it's winter.
I don't buy my kids jeans for school until the end of January because they're going to be wearing shorts. Just know that.
Okay. Has the area always been prone to hurricanes?
Yes,
Yes.
without a doubt.
Discuss some of the most vivid or popular hurricanes of the region before Katrina hit.
I used to hear my mom talk about Hurricane Carla. Of course, that was in the early 60s, but I just remember her talking about the devastation. I remember Alicia when I was I guess I was fixing to go into high school. My parents had bought a house because of the huge oak tree right in the front of a bay window.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all, self-contained in the house waiting for the hurricane to hit, and my mom was standing there and she watched that oak tree start to fall, and she started screaming for everybody to run in the kitchen, and that oak tree fell right on the house. It was pretty awful.
Yeah. Talk about what you did on this fateful week in August when you first heard about the impending storm, which was Hurricane Rita.
Well, we weighed our options. We weren't planning on going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, my mom was the one that was driving us crazy because we had a 3-month-old baby at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to ride it out, actually, because we didn't think it would be that bad, but everybody was hyping it up. The news stations were saying it was going to be really bad.
Mm-hmm.
My parents and all my family were going up into the Texas Hill Country to ride it out.
Mm-hmm.
So we live close to the airport, so we just booked a flight to Seattle and took a hurricane. So
Okay. So, why did you decide to leave?
basically, out of fearful of having to spend the week with the, family
Mm-hmm.
that I don't see that often. So we just decided to make the best of it and go somewhere that wasn't affected by it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that and the possibility of being without electricity, especially with younger children.
2 kids in diapers.
Yeah.
I didn't want to find out what that was going to be like.
Yeah. So, tell me everything about the day the storm hit in August. Like, what events happened?
Now, are we talking about Rita?
Yes.
I'm not really sure I know that when we got to the airport and we got on the plane and we were in first class, all the caterers, we didn't have any food. They couldn't offer us anything because they had let all their catering services go, their people go home to tend to their families. So we got water, and I think we got like a little snack pack of like a little peanut thing of peanuts or something.
Yeah.
But in first class, they usually give you a drink before the plane even takes off, and then they start taking your orders for lunch. We got nothing.
Yeah.
But everybody was so worried about each other that if they had snacks, they were passing it around. Because I remember I brought snacks for my kids, and There were people offering my kids like gummies and whatever to make them stay in their seat.
Yeah.
Well, probably just because, please stay in your seat, little kid. Please don't bother me in first class, little kid.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But, I mean, I think everybody was on their best behavior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Were you and your family frightened by the natural disaster?
Not really, because we've lived with hurricanes ever since I can remember.
Yeah.
We know how to prepare for them. We know not to fight the surge.
Mm-hmm.
No, I wouldn't say we were frightened.
Not at all.
Did you get separated from your family during the ordeal?
Not my immediate family, no.
Okay. How was the aftermath of Hurricane Rita? Some people see these events as being worse than the storm itself.
For us, it wasn't terrible. I mean, we had some, minor inconveniences compared to other people.
Mm-hmm.
We were without electricity for, it was what, a couple days, or I think it was like maybe 4 days.
Yeah, it was almost.
But
a
we
week.
had a generator, so we could turn it on, and I can't remember what we had a little portable AC, didn't we?
Yes.
Which we could close the door to our room, and then everybody came in here and slept on the floor.
Yeah.
And then I just remember the inconvenience of not being able to open the garage door by pushing a button. So I'd have to, manually close it, which I thought was ridiculous. But then I remember there's people out there that have nothing. And not being able to wash clothes or anything like that. But, like, the food that had rotted in the fridge was the worst inconvenience that we really experienced, because I was worried about getting that smell out of the house.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think we were luckier than a lot.
Yeah. Can you describe the events in and around New Orleans after the storm?
I wasn't in New Orleans. I don't know anything about. I wasn't concerned with New Orleans.
Yeah.
Now I would see little blips on the news, and it looks like that they were completely devastated.
Yeah.
I just, if I'm not confusing it with any other storms, I just remember seeing people stranded on the freeway, not being able to get home or anywhere else, and having to be picked up by somebody in a boat.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
That's
Katrina.
what I remember. But other than that, I don't recall a whole lot about New Orleans, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Katrina hit him bad, but
Badly.
Yeah, about I think one of the more severe, tornado did some pretty good damage to the city's airport terminal. That was caused by the Hurricane Rita.
Yeah.
A tornado caused a
Yes.
tornado. A hurricane caused a tornado?
Yes. Yeah. Tornadoes get spun off from hurricanes.
Oh.
Yes, absolutely.
How did you and your family survive during this ordeal?
Well, we ate lots of crab and stuff up in Seattle. Clam. Wait, what kind of
No,
chow?
we ate salmon. And
Salmon.
stuff.
Okay, not crab. Well, no, we had some crab too.
Oh, you ate crab. I
ate
did not eat crab.
Okay. And we just, we were concerned, about what was going on.
But we talked to my mom. My mom would call us to make sure that everybody was doing okay and that we made it there all right. And she would update us if she knew something. But she was up in Lampasas, Austin area. She was away from it completely, and we were away from it completely. We were in awe that there were people in 72-degree weather experiencing that kind of weather every day. I had never, we came from hot, humid mosquitoes that could pick you up and carry you away. So
Yeah. What can you tell me about the looting chaos that happened during the hurricanes?
I couldn't tell you anything about it. I don't recall any of it. I didn't experience any of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about it.
Did y'all hear anything over the news?
I mean, I'm sure we did. I don't recall any of it.
From 2005. No, I can't really recall any significant looting.
Yeah.
Reports.
I know that there's a lot of people that like to take advantage of businesses when they're down, but I don't remember hearing that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it happened, but I don't remember hearing it.
Yeah. Did you think? Go ahead, Dad.
Not the one thing I heard were people stealing copper wire and stuff.
Yeah.
While power was out.
They stole copper wire?
They stole copper wire.
Why?
Well, for money.
Oh. Did you think the local, state, and federal governments acted quickly?
For Rita?
Yes.
I feel like they acted really quickly. I feel like, just from my own experience, there was a lot of people that applied for help that shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
My neighbor around the corner, I mean, she wasn't devastated and managed to get help. So, I don't know. They responded pretty quickly to her.
Yeah. What or who is to blame for the mishap or aftermath of the hurricane?
No, really, who can you blame? You can't really blame anybody. As far as I can see, it, I was pleased that the people that I was surrounded with all came together to try to help each other.
Mm-hmm.
So, as far as like who can you blame for the aftermath, no one. Even state officials really were putting themselves out there to try to help their state. I didn't see all the selfishness that the news likes to report. I didn't see that.
Mm-hmm. Should someone or some entity be held accountable for the deaths of people that were killed?
No.
Well, I think each circumstance needs to be weighed, but ultimately, if people decided to stay and they were warned to leave, and they went against the government's advice, then how are they not responsible for themselves?
Yeah.
I'm not responsible for the decisions my neighbor makes.
Yeah.
He's an idiot. I'm not responsible.
Yeah. Okay. How did the event change your community?
We got to know our neighbors really well.
Mm-hmm.
Because, everybody had all these freezers full of meat. So when we got back, everybody was still the people that stayed were still trying to get rid of what they had because they didn't know how long it would be before they had any electricity. So they would try to cook everything that was in their freezer, and everybody just went around to everybody's house and they would say, grab yourself a plate. And so it was
really cool.
It was like a moving feast. Yeah, every day it would be somebody different's house. Like one day it was Christy Frazier, one day it was somebody else. Joy, we all had. And then, of course, Connie had to chime in and find out whose house she would not eat at again. So, but I mean, I thought it was generous of everybody to like, hey, we've got all this food that's going to go bad. So,
yeah,
we learned a lot about ourselves and our neighbors. That's for sure.
Yeah. How did the event change your family?
It didn't. We didn't change our family. We dealt with it just like we always deal with hurricanes,
Yeah.
Let it roll off your back. There's nothing you can do to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Just, if you need to get out, get out. Get out in time.
I'm sorry. Describe the changes that have taken place since Hurricane Katrina.
Well, FEMA, I mean, they acted as fast as I thought they possibly could, but they really got bombarded, by
All the claims. I mean, there were lots of people devastated. So, Obviously, there's some things that need to have changed. So I know the Army Corps of Engineers went in and tried to do some kind of what.
Well, they worked on the levees. They had to rebuild a lot of levees in New Orleans to make it more stronger to withstand the.
I don't know if any of it helps because of where New Orleans happens to be, below sea level, and
Yeah.
because even now when you drive over there to go to the casino, there's so many things that have not recovered that are they're from the last storm, and I don't remember what the last one was. I mean, I feel like every time we turn around there's another storm, but there's so much over there that hasn't recovered. Pat Henderson's, where we used to like to eat seafood, that's still closed. So many places that still have a blue tarp over their roof. It's pretty desolate. It looks like a ghost town. And you know that New Orleans, what is it? Lake Charles, I can't even think of the name of it, is not a ghost town because the casinos are there. So, yeah, I don't know how much of it's really going to help, but I know that they went back to the drawing board on a lot of it.
Do you think the United States is prepared for another storm of this magnitude?
No, we're not. I don't know that you can ever truly be prepared for a storm because nobody ever gets up in the morning thinking, oh, well, today's the day.
Yeah.
Are you ever ready? Are you ever ready to be a parent? Are you ever ready to say goodbye to one? You're never ready. You're never ready.
Yeah. Do you think the event brought people closer together or drive people apart?
Well, our experience was good.
Yeah, it brought us closer together to, with our neighbors. We got to know them a lot better.
And some of them we haven't talked to since.
Were blacks treated differently from whites during this time period?
I wouldn't know. Not from what I could see, no. All of our neighborhood, we all came together. We all made sure that everybody had something to eat and a place to stay. And that was not my experience at all.
Yeah. What do you want your family members around the world to remember most about this horrible ordeal?
Are we talking about Katrina or Rita?
Rita. Rita is what hit us.
That it can be as good as you make it.
Yeah.
That our family had a great hurricane.
Yeah. How has the city changed racially since the ordeal?
What are we talking about? Rita or Katrina?
Well, for Katrina, a lot of...
Well, because a lot of people from New Orleans moved out.
They did. They had to, and a lot of them came to our area, In fact, we've got, a lot more apartments. Trailer parks were established, to
Are you talking
house
about the FEMA housing?
all these people. Well, it was after the FEMA housing.
Well, we had trailer parks here before.
Well, I know, but they built more trailer parks and more apartments to house these people.
Well, I will say that our area benefited too from them moving because then we got more Louisiana influence over here.
Yeah.
There's a lot more of that culture that you appreciate so much.
That's right, Shaw.
Do you think New Orleans should be rebuilt? I know Katrina hit them pretty hard. Over 1,800 people died.
That's a long debate, and I really feel like the only people that should be answering that question are the people from New Orleans. As much as I would love to say yes, I think the only people that should have an opinion about that are the people that love that city.
Yeah, I love the city. It's very historic.
I would hate to lose all that. I really would. But at the same time, should you keep... you can't keep building a castle on sand.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a sad predicament to be in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's the end of our interview.
Okay.
Well, thank you.